What's up, everybody? Tim Sykes here. It's been a long day. Congratulations to so many of you. I still wanted to do this video before I passed out. So I guess I'll post it tomorrow pre-market because I'm just exhausted and this is like nearly midnight when I'm filming this. So many winners, I'm not getting tired and exhausted because I'm like out partying and having fun. It's trying to keep up with this market and trying to keep up with how many of you guys are just absolutely nailing it. I'm so proud of you guys. I can't even begin to tell you. I'm not going to hit all of them. NEOT, for example, I was dip buying it after it already spiked to the 120s. I was dip buying it right in here around 109, 108. And in the grand scheme of things, it looks pretty good. But it also went all the way down. Oh shoot, that was the wrong one. This is how tired I am. Sorry, this is pre-market. So it actually kind of double topped here near the market open. Let me zoom in. I'm like, wait a minute, it didn't go down to 80 cents after I dip bought. I was off by a few cents a share. Okay, so I saw this morning spike and went up to the 120s. I'm dip buying it right in here, and I don't regret cutting losses. I actually lost money on this. I lost a few $100, as you can see right here. And it's okay to lose, especially on scary stocks like this. Mind you, it finished up 250%, but you don't know it's going to finish up that high by day's end, right? For me, I just saw the morning spike and I thought that it would bounce back, and it didn't. So I cut losses. It could have been worse. I could have lost more. But I cut losses, and only later and then midday and then afternoon did it really spike up. I was busy with some meetings in the middle of the day. I don't know if you know this, I'm getting honored with Larry King in like 3 weeks. So there is so much planning that goes on behind these events. I'm excited about it, but at the same time, I'm going to be trading mostly at the market open and the market close for the next few days. So I missed this run up. I was on the right track though. So I don't really care if I lose money on a trade. It's not the end of the world for me. If you look, this is a good day where I have a small loss, and on this trade, you'll see I got a little lucky. A little luck never hurts. But even if I didn't get lucky, I still would have made roughly 2 grand on this. Okay, I got lucky that I double my profit, and I'll explain why. But even if I had made the 2 grand, which I thought I did initially, that's still 10 times the size of my loss. That is how you get rich, by having your gains be 10 times the size of your loss. Or in this case, it turned out to be 20. That's how you make $4.7 million over time. But anyways, NEOT, congrats to so many of you. Real quick, I just got to go through some of my tweets. There's so many more people. I gotta, who didn't even tweet yet? I don't know if he did. Mark Crook made like 11,000. I think Roland made another 10,000 today. But it's not just about the big gains. Small gains too. Ronaldo made 346 on LBIX. That was pretty sweet. John made $300 in 6 minutes on SRAX, buying at 425, out at 530. That's really good. We'll go over that in a second. Dan Irish, SRAX, made a quick 30%. Evan, look at this, made 1,200, almost doubled his account today, and he's a challenge student. Okay, this is what is possible, and most people think that it's impossible to double your account in a year, let alone a month, let alone a week, let alone in a day. But this is the beauty of these patterns. Yochi made 24% in 9 minutes. Sal says small gains add up. He made 500. Kelsey, first trade. Look at this, $60 on a $2,000 account. SRAX, that was a good one. Topaz made some good money. Brandon made a little good money. Raymond, home run, made a rookie mistake yesterday buying it, turned into the biggest winner. Hey, a little luck never hurts. Let me scroll down here. Marius, I love this. He's like by far the biggest profit ever. SRAX at 354, out at 530. Just 1,000 shares. Okay, making $1,700 on a lousy $3,500 investment. Kenneth made nearly $1,000, $1,200 on SRAX. Yochi says stocks to trade is the best platform. Yekta made like £100. Bobby Bowman made like $800 on 1,000 investment. Austin, biggest profit on TRXC, made roughly 3 grand. Jane says thank you Thank you. Thank you. Very thankful for finding me on the internet. Changed her life and her family's life for the better. Thank you. Here's Yekta. His other trade, Edu Trades made 1,000. Jeffrey, good job on NEOT, made 26%, better than my loss. Mike was up 540 and then lost 100 today after commission. That's, wait, getting the hang of this. I was up 540 and lost 100. Oh, so he made like 440. Okay, that's cool. Weller trade made 170, and you can see here RNVA and MYSZ. Dastud 7979 nailed TRXC, made 495 bucks. Jason made 227. Rylan made 85. Yochi, here's another trade, 35%. Lar made some good money. Joe nailed NEOT. Jeffrey nailed NEOT. Dennis was actually shorting HMNY. That's what Mark Crook shorted today. E-Trade apparently had shares available to short. I didn't even look. That was my laziness. Jonathan made 6.5%, left more on the table with DFFN. EJST says, I like this. If you think Timothy Sykes and penny stocks are a scam, think again, made 260 in half an hour. Don't just judge the trade by how much you make, though, okay? It's very easy to sometimes get totally lucky and you take a low odds pattern and you make money. NEOT, to be fair, was not a low odds pattern, but it could happen. Brian, I love this. Nailed NEOT, made 6,400. And let me just show you this screenshot. Okay, this is absolutely just beautiful on NEOT, and this is what's possible. And there's more. I don't know. I'm gonna go into them later. I'll do a more detailed video when I have more energy. Right now, I just wanted to congratulate a few people. NEOT was a big winner. This is SRAX. I'll get to that in a second. What was the other one? Oh, TRXC. And I totally underestimated this. And a lot of people did. But at the same time, like, I was scared to short it just because of the big volume and because of this market. But a lot of people are shorting these things because they're like, oh, this stock never holds its gains, so it's probably just going to go back down to zero. Well, in this market, I don't know if you could tell, but short selling is very difficult. And a lot of like newbie shorts, a lot of wannabes where they're like, oh, I don't need to study. It's just every penny stock goes down. Well, they're waking up and they're learning the harsh reality that if you make these simplistic assumptions and you don't study the past and realize that, wait a minute, some of these stocks that don't usually hold their gains, if enough shorts enter early on, it creates a short squeeze. The stupid short sellers actually allow it to spike. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy inadvertently because they think, oh, there's no way that it's going to go up. Let me just short tons. And they're shorting tons in here and they're getting squeezed and they're losing 30, 40, 50, 100% on their money. And I know so many other chat rooms that do this. None of my best students just bet big and just short anything. That is asking for pain. And, maybe some people like pain. Maybe they have, messed up psychological problems where they use the stock market to try to create pain for themselves. See a therapist, okay? The stock market should not be used to create pain. It should be used to create pleasure and profits. And congrats to everybody who was long TRXC, especially on this beautiful morning breakout right here above the highs in the 330s. I totally underestimated it, but to my credit, at least I did not short it like some people I know did. So I missed some plays. NEOT, I was there, I bought it, and I still mistimed it because it was choppy and my schedule didn't allow it. So if you just look at NEOT, like, oh, Sykes lost money. That was a bad trade. TRXC, Sykes didn't make any money. Oh, that's bad. But because I don't care about any one trade, I'm always just looking, okay, sometimes I'm going to screw up, sometimes I'm going to miss it. But if I keep focusing on high odds pattern, eventually I will have my day. And in this case, that was SRAX. Or you might know if you study my recent trades, I have profited off this like half a dozen times. I was there for this spike. I think I might have been there for this spike. I was there for a few fake outs too. I haven't always been right, but you're damn sure I'm going to be here for this spike. They announced during their analyst day that they're going to do an ICO of their Bitcoin subsidiary. And, I don't know if you guys have heard of IPOs, initial public offerings. That's usually a very good sign when a company and the subsidiary can do an IPO. For example, WPCS spiked up big because they're little merger with Dropcar. Dropcar is going to do an IPO, even though this thing has dropped 50% because it's an overvalued piece of shit. But on SRAX, you know, everyone's getting excited for an ICO. It's basically an IPO for a Bitcoin type play. So Bitcoin is hot, ICOs are hot, and this is a nice little spiker that's consolidated pretty well. And I was actually kind of disappointed that they didn't have any news pre-market today, you know, heading into the whole analyst day. But they made up for it at the end of the day, and thanks to so many of you who alerted the chat room. I was using stocks to trade just the high of the day scanner, you know, and when a recent supernova, a recent play that I've always, you know, done well on, especially when I bought it into strength in the afternoon. You know, my biggest gains, if you go back and look at my trades on SRAX, were into the close, I think 2 or 3 times. So this was the exact same time. This was with news, and the volume was monstrous right when they announced it. I didn't catch it here in the 2s or even, you know, the low 3s or the mid 3s. I actually caught it in the high 3s. And some people were like, well, weren't you afraid of chasing? And the answer is yes. That's why I took a very small position. This is my position. And, you know, I just bought 2,500 shares. Okay? I mean, I'm fucking multi-millionaire. I could buy fucking 1 million shares. Literally, I could buy 1 million shares if I really wanted to. But I like trading small. I like showing you guys how to trade small because it is speculative, because it already was up $1 a share. But again, I have had experience with this kind of pattern, with this stock, with this kind of news. So I set my goal. I say goal is to sell in the 4s, you know, fast mover though, so small position. Phew, that's what my alert said. And then I thought that I had sold, before I show you the screenshot, I thought that I was in here in the 370s and I was out here in the mid 4s. And by the time I even set the alert, you know, it was already like 470, 480. So I thought that I had played it too safe. As it turned out, because I'm on spotty Wi-Fi, sometimes it helps, you know, to get a little lucky. I did not actually sell. I refreshed my Interactive Brokers and I still had the position. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute, I thought I sold. The order to sell did not go through. So in this case, it worked out. Normally, this can be very dangerous when you're trading volatile stocks. But because I was so dead on with this play and because this play has been so good to me, it's good to be in good positions. I want you to leave that comment, actually. If you understand what I'm saying below this video, say, it's good to be in good positions. And what that means is that it was a pattern that I know, a stock that I know, a news catalyst that I know, at a time frame that I know. All of this was in my favor. So even though I technically, yes, did get lucky by not selling it where I thought I did, I was on the right track. And sometimes you'll find this, like if you're shorting a pump and dump, sometimes the SEC is going to halt it and you're going to absolutely bank because you were shorting a pump and dump when the regulators come, you know, barging in and the stock will drop 50 or 60 or 70%. You can't predict halts. But if you are on the right side of the trade as opposed to dip buying a pump and dump late in the pattern as it's fading, that would be a bad trade. That would be a bad pattern. And then you might say, oh, I got unlucky that the SEC, you know, halted the stock. Well, you took a low odds pattern. You took a low odds setup where you're trying to dip buy a pump and dump too late in the pattern. You're trying to fight what eventually is going to happen. Okay, so with this one, this is a pattern that I know, a stock that I know, news that I know. I took a very small position because it already was up, you know, from 286. It was up roughly $1 a share. First of all, I thought I got executed in the 370s. It was moving so fast, I misread my screen and my internet was so slow. I actually got executed in the 390s. So it didn't really matter, but I'm buying the thing after it has already spiked $1 a share. And that comes with a lot of risk, especially when I'm on spotty Wi-Fi. As it turned out, quite luckily for me, I did not sell it like I thought in the mid 4s. At first, I thought that I bought it at 375, and I thought that I had sold it at like 450. So I thought that I made like 75 cents. You know, not bad, like $1,500, $1,700 profit. And I alerted that because, you know, I thought that my order went through. I was wrong. My order did not go through. And when I refresh Interactive Brokers, I still had 2,500 shares and the stock had climbed another dollar a share. And at that point, once I realized I still had the position, I'm like, whoa, got a little lucky and I sold it at pretty much near the high. Actually worked out very nicely. Got up to 575. I sold it, like 20 cents near the high. So some people will write this off and say, oh, you got entirely lucky. You don't deserve any of it. Well, whether I sold it at 450 or 550, it was going to be a solid profit. Whether I make 20, 30, or 40%, I don't care. Again, $1,000, $2,000, $4,000 does not matter to me. Win or lose. And I know that sounds bad and it's, confusing for a lot of you guys where, you would love to make 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000 or 4,000 or 5,000, but you have to try to put yourself in my shoes, okay? I could have literally a 1,000,000 share position in this if I wanted to trade big, if I didn't focus on teaching, if I didn't want to leave commentary and I just wanted to specifically focus on my own trading, okay? So when I trade small and when I trade extra small, like with 2,500 shares, it's for a reason. Next year, I'm actually just going to trade with 12,000 because it's confusing to too many students where I have a big account and a small account and you're all confused, or not all, but enough people are confused where it's just not worth it. Next year, I'm going to go back to just 12,000. I'll be under the pattern day trader rule and you will see me try to grow it step by step, win or loss, making 200, making 300. But at the same time, understand that when I take a small position of 2,500 shares on a stock like this, it just doesn't matter how much I make. I know that you guys are amped when I make 40%. I'm pretty pumped. It was a good adrenaline rush, but I'm more excited to be able to show you this pattern. And I'm excited to show you that sometimes you can get lucky, okay? I didn't know it was going to go to the fives. I did not set that goal at all. I set goals to sell in the fours, okay? So I specifically said I had a plan. And I thought that I was following my plan. So I don't want you to think that Tim changed his mind, and now Tim is speaking in the third person for some reason. I did not change my mind, okay? I thought that I had sold at my plan. I thought that I had a profit of roughly $2,000. I thought that I had locked it in. My internet is so bad when I travel. Sometimes the Interactive Brokers platform just does not work. I use WebTrader. I'm old school. So my order to sell did not go through. Thank God in this case. And that is sometimes going to happen to you. So that is why it's so important to take good trades, because crazy stuff can happen. The internet can go down. Sometimes your broker can't put the order in. Different stuff happens, and sometimes it'll be unlucky. But the more good patterns you take that you're comfortable with, that you know inside and out, and that you have experience with, the better you will do over time. Let's say if I did this trade 10 times, 7 or 8 times out of 10, something good would happen. Whether I make 10%, 20%, 30%, or 40%. Okay? You can compare this to skee ball. If you shoot the ball straight up the center, you're either going to get 10, 20, 30, or 40, maybe 50. But I don't go to the ends of the skee ball and I try to hit 100 like some people do. This is exactly my skee ball. Hold on, let me just show you what skee ball. This is what skee ball is, in case you guys have ever been to the arcade or something. You shoot it up the center. Oh, shoot, this doesn't have the hundreds. Okay, here we go. This always happens on Wikipedia. It does not have an accurate thing. But anyways, you go up the center and, if you don't give it a lot of power, you might get a 10. But, you have a lot of room. So you shoot the ball up the center and there's a lot of margin of error to get a 10. You're pretty much terrible if you don't get at least 10. But if you give it a little more power, you can get 20, 30, 40, 50. This is where the high odds are, okay? Obviously, you want to try to get 100, but this is a sucker's bet because you have to be so dead on. Otherwise, you get 100 or you get 0. This is the equivalent of going for a home run. So for me, this was going straight up the center, okay? And as it turned out, I got a little lucky. And so I got basically the 50 on this trade. But even if I didn't get lucky, I still would have gotten the 20 or the 30 or something. That's my point here. Okay, this was a very good pattern that I know very well. And when you take good patterns, good things tend to happen. So that was my day. I totally bungled NEOT. Okay, I sold too soon. Not that I would have even held very long. I mean, even if I had held best case scenario, I'm going to be out here in the 130s, which was my goal. You know, buying it around 10, 109, 110. My goal was to sell it on the breakout over the morning high in the 130s. So at best, I'm going to make 20 cents a share. There's no way I would have held to this, but I didn't make anything. On this other one, TRXC, I made nothing. So on 2 of the 3 biggest winners, I made nothing. And in fact, I actually lost a little. But because I waited and I kept at it, I didn't have to trade, but I saw it and I recognized the pattern. And this is where studying comes in. This is where preparation comes in. This is where experience comes in. And a lot of you guys don't necessarily have a lot of experience. So you should be studying the past. You should be studying my trades. I now have 5,000 plus video lessons. Some of you are like, oh, it doesn't matter what you've done in the past. I'm only interested in what's hot now. Nonsense. Okay? If you've been studying my video lessons, you would have known about this play. You would have known about this pattern. And, you know, no matter what position size you take, I mean, this thing spiked, it basically doubled. And on massive volume. I mean, this thing traded millions of shares on this news of the ICO. And I might rebuy it, but the best play for me on SRAX is the buy into the market close. And it hit my goals and went past my goals, and I got a little lucky and I took a good profit. So let this be a lesson that a little luck never hurts, but when you put yourself in good patterns and good plays and good setups, good things tend to happen. I'll see you guys in the chat room. Remember, if this video lesson makes sense, leave a comment saying it's good. Shoot, what did I say? It's good to have good patterns. It's good to be in good plays. I don't know, something like that. Thank you.